Good morning. Good to see you all. Been hanging out with some of you for about 5 days. A lot of other people are here. If you're in the Zendo with me, you can look up and see many people coming from their various places using Zoom and the MZMC Zendo joining us. So it's really nice to see everybody here. A joy to come together in this way. We've had some excitement down here at Hokyoji. A few power outages, a big storm. Everyone, I believe, still alive. We're coming home with all the bodies. So everything is good. And it's been really wonderful to be here. And in particular, I've been co-leading this retreat with my beloved colleague, Venerable Tuan Bach. How sweet that has been, in case you don't know Venerable Tuan Bach. Over there. And yeah, such a well of wisdom and energy. And I'm just so grateful that you have come to this country, spent so many years bringing Vietnamese Zen to the United States and making in particular connections with the Minnesota Zen Meditation Center community and with me personally. And so just a great gratitude. And been here with all these other people who are also just wonderful. Wow. Just practicing trusting each other, trusting that if you need help, you can ask someone for help. And if you don't need help, you can trust them to leave you alone so you can practice. It's pretty nice. Pretty nice. You know, I believe that if we want a world of peace and harmony, one part of that is to just live in peace and harmony. Let's do it. Just do it now. So we've had an opportunity that helps us to do that, and I'm really grateful. And oh yeah, I wanted to show you everybody. Oh, you already have a webcam, so you can, if you want to look at the beautiful people in here and you're not here, you can check it out. For those of you who don't know, Hokyoji is Zen practice center and community that's down at the border of Iowa, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. That was founded by MZMC's founder, Dainin Katagiri, in the 70s. So I'm going to talk today. Venerable Tuan Bach and I have been talking about the first three Chinese Zen ancestors, Bodhidharma, Huike, and Zengsan, because those are the last shared lineage holders for the Vietnamese bamboo forest and Soto Zen tradition. So kind of nice to just acknowledge our family. You know, hey, we have some grandpas. But today, I will be talking about the Song of the Grass Roof Hermitage, which is a poem. And I thought this would be nice to talk about because this poem kind of brought Venerable Tuan Bach and I together, because I was busy trying to get people in the United States to know this poem more and to bring it into their lives. And she was doing the same thing with Vietnamese folks. So, and both of us, I think, have a profound affinity for a line from this poem, which is turn around the light to shine within, then just return. Turn around the light to shine within, then just return. Every character in the line that's translated in that way either means illuminate or revolve. And this is at the heart of both, I believe, the bamboo forest and Soto Zen practice traditions. So we came here for retreat, an opportunity to turn around the light to shine within. And we're going to go home or somewhere. I don't actually have no idea where you're going. I'm going to go home and I'll turn around my light there too. But we have these practices that slow down, contemplate, just sit on the cushion and turn around the light. And then we stand up. We stand up. It's very nice to come here and be taken care of. You know, people were attendant for me and took care of me. Someone, every time I wanted food, there was food here. How did that happen? I think I know. The Tenzo has been in the kitchen making us just beautiful, nourishing food. It's simple. As I was saying in one of my earlier talks, we call Soto Zen family style practice. We come together in a place and we take care of our lives together. At least that is the tradition. Simple elements of everyday living are the place where we can live in peace and harmony. Or, as I have certainly done at many points in my life, something not peaceful and harmonious. Let's be honest. And of course, there's a lot of disharmony and violence in the world. And so we can practice to be peace and harmony so we can go and meet the harms of the world with peace. Nonviolence, which is one of the basic mental factors of benefit in our tradition, is to meet the suffering of the world, meet violence, meet harm with nonviolence. You can practice doing this. You might just learn to do this sitting in zazen when you see your own consciousness harming yourself. Can you meet that with nonviolence? I should acknowledge that I'm giving a talk at the end of a 5-day retreat, and talks at retreats tend to be kind of rambling. So there may be some element of rambling that happens during this talk. Sometimes it's like, I'm going to teach 1, 2, and 3 in order. Sometimes I feel so awake to how beautiful people's practice is that my mind just gravitates towards all that I've seen. So before I left Minneapolis for this retreat, I was teaching with my colleague Deb Milkey, one of our lay teachers at MZMC. We've been co-teaching a class on Zen ritual and liturgy, which has been really wonderful. And sorry I had to miss y'all last week. I think some of you are here, so we all missed you all together, I bet. Anyway, we really have had time to just talk about how ritual provides what Venerable Tuambak was talking about yesterday, other power. So she was saying other power, self-power, two sides of the same coin. They're not really separate things because self and other are not real. But insofar as they really seem quite real most of the time to most of us, they matter a lot. So self-power and other power. So yeah, we have this tradition of generating the energy and the bodhicitta to practice for liberation. Generating. And we can have other power to help us. So rituals that remind us of the value of our practice, remind us of the values embedded in the practice, compassion, wisdom, kindness, energy, mindfulness, concentration. And so we've had a lot of opportunity to talk about that in that class. And one of the basic elements of rituals through all the Buddhist traditions I know of, certainly Soto Zen, is chanting. And I can talk about, I try and find ways to talk about chanting in lots of Dharma talks, and then I have to find a slightly different thing to say about it every time, because otherwise I'm just, I think actually Zen teachers repeat themselves all the time anyway, but I'll just try and find a different angle today. Chanting. One thing that chanting does is it uses drone to induce trance, but not a trance. The trance that we try and induce in this tradition is the opposite of a trance that separates. So the trance we try and induce is to actually bring the capacity of attention of the human mind totally to the whole of the present moment. So normally trance is often a state where the power, the ability of a human mind to concentrate is narrowed. Zen may use that technique sometimes because we need to learn to concentrate. We need to develop the capacity, but ultimately not narrow. The mind of Zen is the whole of everything that is here. And that's it. Nothing left out, nothing added. Or as Katagiri Roshi used to say, nothing extra. He said that a lot, I gather. Tomo Katagiri, when she was teaching us to sew, would always say, you need to put a little extra in. A little extra fabric so that you wouldn't get in trouble later. Nothing extra, maybe just a little extra. So droning sounds can induce the natural capacity of the human mind to be deeply concentrated. Droning sounds like oh. I remember a musician I know named Jonathan Richman talking about going to a Velvet Underground concert where they're using long drones for like a really long time. And he said the whole audience, 1,000 people who went there to party, was just standing in a trance. And drones have been used in many, many kinds of music all over the world. And it's particularly in religious music and the religious music of our tradition. So we can make this sustained sound. There are words, but the sound we make when we chant is a sustained note. Just like you really missed out because you're not at Hokyoji because the lawnmower drove by the other day. It's the best lawnmower everywhere. It had a very, very clear slight Doppler effect. It dropped when it passed. Wonderful. Concentrate. Nothing excluded. The whole works. Harmonious. So, I'd like to chant the Song of the Grass Roof Hermitage together. Oh, I'll introduce the poem a little bit. This poem was written by Shito, the 8th ancestor in China. It's not generally been historically used in Zen liturgy, but is a little bit more and more, especially in the US, because people seem to find it very helpful. I first heard it sitting in this Zendo about 20 years ago, and I can honestly say it completely blew my mind, but you may just think, oh, that's nice. That's fine. You can have whatever experience you have. I trust you. I trust you. All right, I'm going to share the screen. So folks, please make sure you are muted if you are in the Zoom meeting. It looks like everyone is, but let's just ensure that. Otherwise, sad things will happen for everyone. All right. I'll chant the title alone, and then we'll chant together. Song of the Grassroof Hermitage. I've built a grass hut where there's nothing of value. After eating, I relax and enjoy a nap. When it was completed, fresh weeds appeared. Now it's been lived in, covered by weeds. The person in the hut lives here calmly, not stuck to inside, outside, or in between. Places worldly people live, he doesn't live. Realms worldly people love, she doesn't love. Though the hut is small, it includes the entire world. In 10 feet square, an old monk illumines forms in their nature. A great vehicle, Bodhisattva trusts without doubt. The middling or lowly can't help wondering, will this hut perish or not? Perishable or not, the original master is present, not dwelling south or north, east or west. Firmly based on steadiness, it can't be surpassed. A shining window below the green pines. Jade palaces or vermilion towers can't compare with it. Just sitting with head covered, all things are at rest. Thus this mountain monk doesn't understand at all. Living here, he no longer works to get free. Who would proudly arrange seats, trying to entice guests? Turn around the light to shine within, then just return. The vast, inconceivable source can't be faced or turned away from. Meet the ancestral teachers, be familiar with their instruction. Bind grasses to build a hut and don't give up. Let go of hundreds of years and relax completely. Open your hands and walk innocent. Thousands of words, myriad interpretations are only to free you from obstructions. If you want to know the undying person in the hut, don't separate from this skin bag here and now. May all the benefit of this recitation be an offering for the liberation of all beings throughout space and time. All right, I'm just going to invite you to take a moment, and maybe you close your eyes, but you don't need to, and just see if you can remember any line or word from that poem that at this moment seems valuable or resonant or powerful for you. And you may not remember exactly, that's fine. Be like, oh, that thing about the trees. All right, if there is anyone in the Zoom meeting who remembers a line that you want to recite back to us, you can unmute yourself and do so.
I'd just be paraphrasing.
Go ahead.
The one about don't separate yourself from the skin bag. Be here and now. That
I will say it for you. Thank you. Don't separate from this skin bag here and now. Okay, anyone, one more person from the online meeting? Okay, maybe not. If there's anybody in the Zendo who's sitting up fairly close and can project, feel free to, we'll have ask Dan. I think, Dan, you're the Zoom person. Thanks for all your coordination here. To unmute and just make room if anyone wants to bring their voice.
When it was completed, fresh weeds appeared.
Just sitting with head covered, he no longer works to get free.
Very nice. Let's pause in here and go to the MZMC Zendo. See if anyone wants to say anything there.
The vast conceivable source cannot be faced or turned away from.
Let go of 100 years and relax completely.
Okay, I think that's pretty good. We could do this all day. It's pretty fun. So thank you, everyone. Oops, I'm still here. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. This is a wonderful way to engage with Buddhist texts. Just let it wash over you as a practice, and then see if something emerges that is going to encourage or support you in your practice. So I picked a few lines out today that I will talk a little bit about. When it was completed, fresh weeds appeared. Have you ever been like, oh, I've been practicing meditation for a while. Mine's getting pretty clear. And then you're like, what the hell is all this stuff? Where did all this come from? Retreat's really good for this because they have a lot of up and down, but maybe what if we say the retreat is your life and you may practice meditation for 30 years? Last couple months, I've been using more specific concentration practice because my mind's got too loose. Wow, weeds. Wow. Sometimes I'm like, oh, nice weeds. Sometimes it's like, there's so many weeds here, I actually don't know where I'm trying to walk. So we need help. But, this line, the implications are many, but here just, life is extremely unpredictable. Actually, sometimes it seems very predictable. And you're like, why did I get so bored? Where the weed of boredom? Oh, that's tough. It's an amazing weed. Can you be fascinated by boredom? Oh, that's good practice. That's good practice. I've had a fair amount. And I was like, walking here, I've come down to Hokyoji for retreat most years, at least once, usually once, for about 20 years. And this year, something, I swear, I've never seen this before. There are enormous numbers of extremely freaky mushrooms all over the place. Like really all kind of like, what even is that? I was like, maybe a meteorite came and that's from a different planet, you know, bright yellow things and these sort of purplish dripping, a lot of stuff that definitely looks like if you were going to design a movie about a freaky alien planet. And you'd like, oh, just take a picture of that. And there's the one that looks like a kind of a shaggy person. I think it's called a shaggy person mushroom. Where did they come from? I know there's someone in the back said, well, there's mycelium in an underground network. Yeah. Where did the mycelium come from? Buddha taught that karma is without discoverable beginning. The situation we are in as human beings on this planet is we are not going to figure out the origin, or it's just not the project of this tradition. But to say it's like this now. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Relax. Take a nap. Open your hands and walk innocent. Bind grasses to build a hut and don't give up. This capacity is firmly based on steadiness. It cannot be surpassed. So I see those mushrooms, you know, I was like, okay, I don't need to be like, oh my gosh, mushrooms. Get out my code book. Mushroom code. I don't have one. But nor is it need to be like, oh, yuck. Like, oh, I'm not looking at the mushrooms. I'm in practice. All that's extra. The whole. Mushrooms are there in the whole thing. It's like your brokenheartedness is part of the whole. Your joyfulness is part of the whole. It's like this now. There's something about this ability to be really at ease and firm. I see people doing this. You know, let's see, last year, after Ricky Cobb III was shot and killed by state troopers in Minneapolis, yet another young black man killed by police. Some people I know were part of organizing a day of memorial at George Floyd Square, which was a really great event. And I ended up with the task of sitting for a lot of the day at the Say Their Name Cemetery. And just, they were like, go there and hold space, whatever that means, and pass out water, which I knew how to do. So I did that. And while I was there, my friend, Reverend Dr. Gia Starr Brown came by, and she said, we need to bring the practice of mindfulness, of this relaxed, firm being. Outside of your temple and here. So we did some planning. And we did that for the last 6 weeks. Gia and I and a bunch of other people just been practicing mindfulness and deep listening and sharing at George Floyd Square with the community there. And it's been wonderful. But as part of the work of healing the many harms in this world, the capacity to be firm, to not give up, but to do it without damaging ourselves, to do it with some openness, to do it with nonviolence, takes practice. It takes practice. Certainly in my case, it takes a lot of practice. I get a lot of help. I get that other power, self-power. Other power, self-power. This is Venerable Twombach's hand. It looks like my hand, but it's her hand. I just learn. I learn from my teachers. So one way that really helps for developing the ability to be firm, steady, open, and relax and easeful in harmony is don't separate from this skin bag here and now. How's the old skin bags today? Tell you what, if you're married, don't wake up and say, how's the old skin bags? But with your Zen friends, how's the old skin bag today? So if this line wasn't intended to be funny, that's okay. You know, language and culture and humor are complex. It can be funny now. But it's also a line about deep intimacy without attachment. Deep and radical intimacy without attachment. So don't separate. Don't alienate yourself. Don't jump out of this body into the Tushita heaven realm. Stay right here. This is our practice, right? If you know Zen, you know this. But isn't a skin bag? Come on. So this roots back to the 4 foundations of mindfulness sutra right there in the first foundation of mindfulness of body, be totally aware of body at all times in every posture. And also just realize it's a bag full of gross stuff that's going to die. That's really, it goes through, okay. That sounds easy. Those mushrooms are already gone. We walked up the path after the storm. Most of them are already back in the earth. I hope they were fully mushroomy while they were fully mushroomy. Deep intimacy without attachment, to be able to fully be here with something, but just be like, oh yeah, this is just coming and going. Normally, we either want to ignore or push away, and then, not dealing with it. Or if we like it, we're like, ooh, can I have some more of that? I like this body. I mean, for the most part, there's hairs that come out of it in the wrong place. But, overall, I'm just grateful. I mean, I like this body principally in the sense that I get to practice. I wake up in the morning, I say, I get to practice for liberation. Holy moly. That's not going to happen forever. But it's hard to become really in the body without being attached. We sit and we practice with the body, and I go, oh, my body hurts. When am I going to feel more comfortable? Sitting with the body while we're eating, I'm like, I'm practicing really good mindfulness. I'm like, this is so good. Wow. Will Matt make more fried rice? How many more helpings will I get? Oh, when we become intimate, attachment. Well, when we come close, we're conditioned to generate attachment. So, but we can practice, not separate, but it's a skin bag. Practice really close, no attachment. So, like, back to spouse, say you got a spouse, or yeah, it could be any close relationship. You know, I like to feel close to my spouse. I'm into it. It's really nice. But, you know, sometimes it's like something happens, you don't feel so close. And, you know, when I was younger, one of the main things that brought me to this practice is if I felt close to someone and then I didn't feel close, oh my God, just cue the opera. I mean, it was bad, you know, very, very, very upsetting to me. When am I going to get my closeness again? How are we going to figure this out? Every possible, I won't even go to the details of the strategies and the tactics to try and get back to the intimacy to which I was desperately attached. But, you know, I practiced for a while now, and now sometimes, you know, if it's like my spouse is mad at me, I can say, well, what's going on with you? What are you upset about? Can I try and understand you? Because you're like this now. We'd be able to be deeply intimate, but without attachment, so that it's like whatever comes up, you're intimate and you know it's going away. That's how it is. I mean, there's not really an alternative in my opinion. But my mind wants to like, couldn't we somehow have an alternative? So now, you know, I've talked about the body as the ground of practice quite a bit on this retreat, and like, we're just gonna move in this space and we're gonna embody dignity, humility, and gratitude through these bows, and that will be beneficial. And then it's a little confusing. I think could be confusing because Venerable Tuan Bach will say, like, it's not about your body. Yesterday, she's like, it's not about your body, it's about your mind. She's like, don't go fasting. It's not about like going to fast or go to the right place with your body and then everything will work out. It is your attitude towards the situation that is the ground of practice. So it's possible people are like, well, geez, I guess maybe Ben and Venerable Tuan Bach are really, they just disagree. But I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, we may have, you know, we're not identical people. When I'm talking about the body, I'm talking about the body as a mental event. Because I'm not talking about the body as an object outside of your experience. I'm not talking about it as like a bunch of atoms that maybe you could read about in a book. I'm talking about your actual personal direct experience of what the body is now, which in Buddhism is called mind, because it's not separate from your experience of it. It might seem kind of like you could just pause for a second and be like, oh, do I feel like I'm a mind that's experiencing bodily sensations? Or somehow there's like a mind thing and a body thing. Maybe you have that kind of experience, but you know, in the Buddhist teachings I'm trained in, that separation is just an idea. It's not real. There's just experience. So, not so different. That's what I think. I think our teaching's not so different. Because I'm talking about how we relate to the body. And we relate to it with deep intimacy without attachment. Don't separate from the skin bag here and now. When we look at the body as an object, we're separating from it. Get so close that gap between our sense of the sensations in the body and who we think we are, it's so small. We can practice. One of the best ways to practice, don't think about it much. You read the little book about it, so your mind kind of goes, that might be a good idea. And then you sit here and you just actually, the body is already here and you don't do anything. Then the sensations are already there. All you're doing is letting what is there be there. You're trusting what is your deep intimacy with your body that's already here. This can happen. Ah. Oh, wow. I think everyone is at this moment just thinking, I wish Ben would talk about the Trikaya, three-body teaching of Yogacara. I thought so. My father was an amazing and wonderful person. And he talked a lot and he was very knowledgeable. And sometimes he'd say, do you want to hear about Lawrence Stern? And he'd say, I'll tell you anyway. No gap. So anyway, the three bodies. I'll just be brief about this. At the end of many, many Buddhist texts, the last line refers to the body. 30 verses on consciousness only. This, the blissful body. Wow. Hello. The blissful body of liberation. The Dharma telephone of the great sage. Wow.
Paul wants to hear this.
Yeah, someone heard I was talking about the three bodies. Put me on speaker. Wow. Wow. So, anyway, the blissful body of liberation, the Dharma body of the great sage. This is 30 verses talking about mind only. That's the title of the text. What it says mind only is the body of liberation. And the end of the treatise on three natures, you'll realize the three bodies. The end of Hakuin Zenji's Song of Zazen. This very body is the Buddha. Over and over again, a body. All the talk and then the body. And in the treatise on three natures, it ties the three natures to the body in a traditional Yogacara way of three teachings. 1, 2, 3. Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, Dharmakaya. The Nirmanakaya is just like the body the way we normally think about it. It's like a thing. It comes into being. It passes away. It has boundaries. It's kind of like, we know what bodies are. So Nirmanakaya is just kind of like a body. And so the Buddha, the famous one, Shakyamuni, had a Nirmanakaya. It's like just a guy. Going from town to town, living very simply, being available. That's what nirvana is. But these other three bodies, I go to the third one, the Dharmakaya, is empty. That is to say, it's empty of separateness. So this is the body, your body. It's not your body because it's everything's body. It's the body that is everything. It is the truth that your body, even though it seems boundaried in all these ways, is actually all time and all space and everything. You might think, sounds nice, but I doubt it. That's okay. That's all right with me. But all the ideas of separation you have are only ideas. And ideas are pretty limited. The fact that human consciousness happens to experience things in individual moments and has the capacity to experience senses in a particular way and has interpreted that very tiny amount of data into being like, oh, this part is me, is not the absolute truth. It's just a useful way of looking at things that has some utility. Well, there's a Nirmanakaya here. By the way, usually we're talking about like the Buddha, but that's you, so I can talk about it as just being your body too. Just there's like all the regular temporally and spatially boundaried elements you think your body has, and then there's the absoluteness. And you can do all kinds of ways to deny the absoluteness of your separation, like, you know, there's like millions of microbes in your bodies without which you'd like immediately die, I think, something like that, and all kinds of stuff. Like, where does the air molecule stop being outside and when to inside? In your nostril? Or does it have to be through the alveoli? Or does it have to be metabolized? I don't know. So you can play with this all you want. If it helps to realize your inherent boundarylessness. Little mushroom? Where did the mushroom come from? It was already the whole thing. It just looks like a little mushroom to me for a minute. Sambhogakaya. This is the blissful body. This is just if you realize that boundarylessness and you realize this boundariness, and it's like, oh, I don't have to be so attached to this thing, this skin bag, because I realize it's the whole world. So now I'm free. The Sambhogakaya is the blissful body of the Bodhisattva who can just be like, I'm not saying this body doesn't matter. Totally matters. People will be upset. When this body dies, I'm confident there'll be people who are upset. When I find out, like, I have a terminal diagnosis, I'm probably going to be upset. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be a downer. At the same time, it's just an illusion that I'm separate in the first place. I'm here with everything. The joyfulness when we let go of all that boundariness and realize we're here as a part with everyone else. We can meet people with compassion, with harmony, with trust. Well, I don't know how your Nirmanakayas are doing. Maybe they're like, my Nirmanakaya is pretty tired. This little skin bag, you know, maybe, or maybe very energetic. Yeah, all that, it really matters. But doing the practices that let the separating tendency of mind subside. Just be here in the whole, sitting in a zendo with sound, sight, sensation, mental events. You can soften the boundariness that makes us attached and then find an enormous joyful freedom to live for the liberation of everyone, everywhere. So it's been really wonderful hanging out with you all on the Zoom land. We're gonna sign out of this Zoom meeting